Wall Street is coming for XRP. Guys, we just got a pretty big update, but first I want to talk about the price action. I want to talk about the market, really kind of give you guys a quick update and go over a few things. But for the most part, yes, Wall Street is coming for XRP. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So overall, the price action in crypto just feels like we are playing yo-yo at this point. One day it's up, the next day it's down, and we just can't seem to get away from the low, like $60,000, mid 50K range when it comes to Bitcoin. And even as we do look at the market right now, I'm recording this a little bit ahead of time, but Bitcoin's sitting at around roughly $61,000. It did hit pretty low earlier yesterday, hit about like roughly almost 60,000. I know in some exchanges it did lose 60K for a little bit, but this did cause a lot of the market to sell off. Now, one thing that I warned you guys about when it comes to even XRP is that, prepare for a sell-off. When we look at XRP right now, sub 60 cents yet again after hitting a nice little high of 66 cents. Guys, this is why I say not to trust the price action on the weekend. Yes, open interest was surging. It surged past $1 billion amid growing enthusiasm for Ripple's upcoming RLUSD stablecoin launch, currently in private beta testing on both XRP Ledger and the Ethereum blockchain. Now, I did post this the other day. This was on the 28th, just for reference, right? This was the 28th. We were starting to have a nice little move in the market. I said, one thing to learn in this space is to never trust weekend price action, and this is especially true for XRP. We are currently trading in an inverse fair value gap zone, which is typically bearish, which we would typically see a rejection from. Key targets on the swing low is about 54 to 55.5 cents. That is the fair value gap that's actually technically bullish. From there, we would most likely see a big bounce. From there, I also expect us to break over 65 cents for continuation to 75 cents, because I do believe that this could be, the keyword there's could be, the last major dip in this market before we start to actually see October. But this is the chart that I did outline. Now, we did go a little bit higher, right? It hit about roughly, 66 cents. But that's why I have that line up there that is taking out the liquidity. We actually wicked slightly above this 66.5 cents, but that was taking out the full liquidity wick going back to the end of July. But this is the overall chart that I did have outlined. I did call this in the Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, you guys can see me calling this in real time. I said, we will most likely sell off from this rally. Everyone was getting too bullish. Everyone was expecting, XRP to surge to 75 cents to $1, and it was just too early to call that. If we actually look at XRP right now, the structure is still very bullish. We are still in a nice upward price movement. We have this nice low down here, a higher low, and that's why I'm looking for this roughly like 56 cent zone. We don't have to go down to like 55.5 cents or anything like that. I wouldn't doubt that we probably wick down to those levels, but this is where I do expect our next low to really kind of form on XRP, and that's where I do expect us to have a nice little wick to the upside. But definitely focus on deep wicks for buying. I always like to say, put a buy order in. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, you're not out any money. I personally am looking for about roughly 53 cents. 53.5 cents would do. But that would be a nice deep wick. It would be a major liquidity wick as well, going all the way back here to July 19th. So let's see what happens when it comes to XRP. Now, one thing that I do want to address is Bitcoin. Let's go all the way back to roughly January 10th, right? Why am I going all the way back to January 10th, January 11th? Because this is when the ETF got approved for Bitcoin. All right. And we had a nice swing in the market. And then from there, it was basically up only for a while, all the way into March when we did top out. So from roughly, the middle to the end of January, because it was like around January 23rd, from January 23rd all the way to about roughly March 13th, March 14th, it was up only for Bitcoin. Now, I say this because we just got a big announcement. And first, I want to start off with this video clip from Brad Garlinghouse back in February of this year, where he says that he would certainly welcome an XRP ETF. Check this out.
So you would welcome an XRP ETF then?
We would certainly welcome it, and I think it's inevitable that there'll be, multiple ETFs around different tokens. And I think you'll even see ETFs potentially around baskets that also, I think, further diversify that risk.
Given there's so much excitement around the ETF dynamic here, are you in talks with the largest issuers, particularly BlackRock, to get this done?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I know BlackRock has said some things publicly. We think it makes sense for the XRP community overall. Ripple obviously is a very important stakeholder in the XRP ecosystem, but we're not the only player. And look, we've seen, before the SEC lawsuit, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset. I think because of the headwinds of that lawsuit, we've now seen that largely abate. But the long-term view on these things is about, how do you create utility and really solve real-world problems with these different digital assets? Bitcoin's doing that very well as a store of value. XRP and its dynamics around being very fast, very efficient, and low cost on a per transaction basis makes it ideal for payments. And that's where Ripple really has leaned into as a company.
So yeah, he says that he would certainly welcome it. Now, you got to remember that this is after, Brad Garlinghouse said at Davos that he wouldn't be able to talk about it. He also said around the same exact time that, they weren't really exploring that. But what's funny about that is if we go back in time to around January as well, remember that Larry Fink said that he couldn't talk about an XRP ETF, which tells us, hey, guess what? One is most likely on its way. And we just got this announcement over here. Bitwise positioning to file for an XRP ETF is highly noteworthy in my opinion. Now I'm going to confirm this in a second. In short term, this is likely a call option on November election, but Bitwise is highly credible crypto native fund firm that doesn't just throw stuff at a wall. That's simply not in their DNA. This is strategic. Point being that XRP ETF prob coming at some point in time. Bitwise just early. Politics clearly matter here in short term, but I think that this is all inevitable over time. In my opinion, Bitwise longer term roadmap is to offer this in an ETF wrapper. Next step will be full tokenization. And if we go over here, we have Bitwise files for an XRP ETF in Delaware. And here you have it, right? So this is happening. In my opinion, once we start to see the filings for an XRP ETF, it's going to work the same exact way as Bitcoin. I'm not going to play into the idea that this is going to send XRP to $10 or anything like that, because I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of influencers out there that tell you like, oh, that's it. Like this is going to send XRP to $10. Guys, the thing to focus on here is that it's going to start with the small guys like Bitwise filing for a spot ETF. Once we see the whales, we're talking about BlackRock, Fidelity, those big players jumping in and filing for an ETF, it's done. It's a done deal. It's going to get approved. And we'll have an XRP ETF. The one thing that I want to stress here is that Wall Street is going to come for XRP. They are going to get their claws deep in on XRP. And the reason why I say this is let's go back to Bitcoin. Okay, like I said, an ETF is great for price action. It's great for, hype, bringing in a lot of eyes, things like that. For an example, Bitcoin did hit about roughly 49K just off of the, announcement. Then it sold off to about roughly 38.5K. And from there, Bitcoin, we're talking about Bitcoin, the largest asset in crypto, surged a total of roughly 91.25%. Guys, 91.25% for Bitcoin is very significant. Going from roughly, 38K all the way up here to about 74 almost K, right? So if we're thinking about this, okay, Bitcoin, at $30-some thousand, having a massive surge through ETFs. Obviously, you had the hype, speculation, things like that. But the number one thing here was those inflows. If we go over here to the top 13 Bitcoin holders, okay, I've outlined this so many times, but if we look at the actual Wall Street control of Bitcoin, it is 8.3%. Okay, you have Robinhood, you have MicroStrategy, Grayscale, Fidelity, BlackRock. If we're just focusing on the ETF players here, more so BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale, you still have a very significant percentage of Bitcoin held. It's like a little over roughly like 5-6%. So if we're really thinking about this, right, we're talking about the #1 crypto project in this space, one of the most expensive ones too. Now, just imagine how much of XRP will get eaten up by Wall Street if we see these ETFs get approved. You're talking about a sub $1 asset trading at almost 60 cents. Yeah, I think that a very significant percentage of XRP is going to be eaten up by Wall Street. I really do believe so. Because if this is how much Bitcoin got eaten up by Wall Street in a very short amount of time, we're talking about roughly 9 months. BlackRock themselves holding 2.3% of the supply in 9 months. That's why the ETF, in my opinion, is very significant. Now, I also want to play this video here, and this is actually from Good Morning Crypto, or Thinking Crypto 1. This is with Tony Edward, and we have Justin, Bitwise files XRP ETF. Listen to Bitwise CEO Matt Hogan discuss an XRP ETF and the resolution of SEC versus Ripple last year. Will BlackRock fix an XRP ETF next?
There were many XRP holders who wanted me to ask you if Bitwise was going to do anything regarding XRP, given the ruling in the lawsuit against Ripple, given that it has some level of clarity now that intrinsically it's not a security. Anything you can share there?
Yeah, it is a holding now of the Bitwise 10. So it is the third largest holding at a 3.2% weight. You know, we removed it from the index the day the lawsuit came from the SEC because it injected a fair amount of risk into the market. But the lawsuit went through and there was a ruling. And as you mentioned, the ruling found that it was not a security in most aspects. And so it is back in the index where it belongs, just like it's there, you know, with your pillows. So we're ready. We're right there with you.
So there you guys have it. And yeah, I mean, listen, as we really look at what's been happening around XRP, I do think that the institutional side is really starting to heat up. I've been very vocal about this. I've been addressing it for a while. If you really think about what's going on here, yeah, everything's aligning perfectly for XRP to have a massive bull run. Now, sure, we still have to wait for Bitcoin to make a higher high. We need to have Bitcoin break into a new all-time high. But if we are going to see Uptober, then it does mean that XRP is going to have a very, very big run. It's probably going to get very exciting as well. If the ETF happens before the end of the year, you know, expect a surge for XRP. I mean, if we're talking about $1 billion in open interest just around a stable coin that Ripple is launching that's not even live yet, think about what an ETF will bring. Now, think about what an ETF will bring when the stablecoin also goes live and we start to see institutional adoption and we start to see big announcements. We also have Ripple swell. I mean, it could get very exciting for XRP very, very quick in a very short amount of time. So don't overlook that. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.